Okay, hold on. Let's give it a second. Okay, 1 sec. Okay. That I didn't do. That's how I was asking you, do I have to hit go live? Yep, there you go. We're good. Thanks, Jack. We're good. See ya. All right, we did it. At least I think we did it. Can you all guys hear me okay? All right, perfect. All right, good. So here is what this is all about for those of you guys that have been wondering. Um, we decided to start this morning show. As you can see, it's on YouTube, and it's going to be short and snappy. Today, literally, we'll probably have about 10 minutes. We're usually going to go maybe 15 minutes or so. And the point is to really just kind of give you, actionable updates. Sometimes it'll be something we're watching very closely, which is actually a stock we're going to talk about today. Sometimes it is going to be, for example, some big picture research point, or the top things that we're watching. Always something very, from our vantage point, something very important. So thank you all for being here. Again, give us a quick hello or something in the chat box there if you can hear us. And then we're going to get started here right away. I've got basically one stock that we want to look at, one idea, and then we will we'll reconvene every morning. So we're gonna do this once a day. So basically, obviously, we're launching here today, Tuesday, the 10th of September. But going forward, we're going to do this basically Monday through Thursday, 9 o'clock Eastern, so that's 6 a.m. Pacific, and that's the schedule. So let me get started here with today's idea. And so what I was looking at over the past few days, or the past couple of weeks at this point, actually very specifically, I was looking at where some of this really strong outperformance is coming from in sort of, in some of the transportation stuff, or actually more specifically industrial stocks. And when I dug a little bit deeper over the past, again, week or two, it started becoming really apparent that there's a lot more potential pent-up demand in some of the defense stocks. And not defensive stocks like utilities, but defense stocks like General Dynamics, which is a name that I want to look at here today. But before we look at that, let's just have a bit of an understanding of where all this relative movement is coming from. If you look at the relative movement of defense stocks, so for example, the IAK ETF is one that I like to focus on for looking for what the defense sector is doing, or it's not a sector, it's an industry group. IAK, you can actually see year to date, the defense industry is actually up 28% versus the S&P up 16%, and the Qs are up 11%. So that's a lot of alpha being generated there. That's 1,300 basis points of outperformance versus the S&P. And so when I went a bit deeper on this, and I used the market rover for this, I started noticing that not only is IAK in a very strong, and by the way, that's the completely wrong ETF. I'm such an idiot. ITA, my apologies, but that's the same thing. Let me bring up ITA. Okay. It's actually the same thing, so let me show it to you here. ITA, here we are. Here, so IAK is wrong, it's ITA. There you go. So this is the defense ETF, and it's actually nowhere near as good. So completely ignore that, but it proves the same point about General Dynamics. That's what happens when you have technical issues. You end up using the wrong ETF. Anyway, so ITA in line with the S&P and the NASDAQ 100. Point still holds. When I go into the market rover and I look at is this part of the market doing, I see it's in a very strong bullish trend, and I see something like LMT, which is Lockheed Martin, has already blasted off year to date. So Lockheed Martin probably getting a bit extended here, but when I was looking within that sector, or again, that industry group, I noticed that that General Dynamics is actually still in a very bullish trend. Again, the same industry, but it hasn't really lifted off yet, or it has been consolidating all summer long. And so to me, this is a pretty interesting, actually very interesting setup. In fact, you can see the market rover, again, this is our trend following tool. It flagged this stock as a new bullish trend around 242 in October of last year, so like 11 months ago, and it's now been consolidating. Now, what I also want to point out, and I think this is important, it's not like General Dynamics has not rallied versus Lockheed Martin. In fact, they have both rallied. So if I were to overlay, let me show the two this way. So we'll take General Dynamics, and we are going to look at that stock, and I'm going to overlay it with, actually, let me do this. So this is General Dynamics, and I'm going to overlay LMT just for an example so you can see what I'm saying. So it's not like these stocks both haven't rallied. It's just that General Dynamics has been basically consolidating. So if we're now taking this a step back and we are looking at this through the lens of seasonality, and we realize that we're still in a pretty, here we go, let's move this. We are still in a pretty risk-off environment here through the lens of seasonality, particularly in an election year. And I'll share a couple of charts with you guys so you can see this really well. Like, for example, this point here, we are now actually a little bit further. We're now right here. So we still have a lot of potential choppiness here from an election year perspective. And so I think trying to buy the sort of the big cap, mega cap tech stocks and a lot of stuff that's very, very risk on, in my view, it's a little bit too early. But I really like the fact that General Dynamics here is coiling as much as it is. And so if we then look at General Dynamics on its own, just the chart itself, the stock itself, again, it's not like it hasn't rallied. It's been in a very, very strong bullish trend, but it is consolidating. And I think anyone that's ever looked at a chart can probably agree that this thing is coiling up here. How far is it going to rally? I typically like to take this sort of from the previous base. This is purely technical, and for those of you guys that are following us, you know that we do way more than technicals. We go way more beyond that because technicals is just one way of looking at things, but an important thing. And so the way we could measure the upside target from here would be just measuring how deep this consolidation period is, and then you literally stack that on top of the current price level, and so we could get to, something in the low to mid 300s. So we'll call that 320 to 330. Ultimately, that's not going to happen tomorrow. That's not the point. But we could ultimately get there from sort of a trajectory perspective. And again, I like it because it fits into the seasonality point. I don't think we're in like a massive risk-on period just yet. Again, we're still a bit risk-off. In fact, there's a piece that we're going to be sending out to clients later on today, I believe. It's this chart here. You can still see that there's a lot of seasonal weakness in the month of September and October. I know this is a bit small, and I'll get used to these YouTube lives here before long. But long and short of it, General Dynamics, a stock that I like. If you guys have any questions here, I'm happy to stick around another minute or so. Again, we're going to typically go about maybe 15 minutes in the morning. We're just going a bit shorter today because we had some technical issues to kick off the inaugural morning show. But again, it's going to be short and snappy. It's going to be right to the point. We're going to either be looking at some important news, some tactical things to do, some bigger picture things. And again, the point is to do it live in the morning, to be here for you guys. in the mornings as we as the market kicks off. So that's the thing here. Can I get a quick thumbs up if you guys like this, or a thumbs down if this was crap? You know, let us know. We'd love to hear your feedback so we can make this. This is all about you and for you, right? To make sure that you get the most out of it. Get it from, you know, what's on our screens in the morning. Again, this is straight from the Market Rover. If you're an Inner Circle member, by the way, we're about to hop over in literally like a minute. We're going to jump on over to the Inner Circle member session. We're going to do a live gap trade this morning. I've got one in the S&P 500 that I'm watching, and in the NASDAQ 100. So we're going to be going over there in probably about a minute at this point. So that's that. If you're wondering how did I come across General Dynamics, it's just using our Market Rover. It's our trend following tool, and you can see there's a brand new buy signal actually literally today. So that's what we're seeing, and this is the stock. And earnings, by the way, I should say, is not until October, so there's a bit of time here. So that's it. Thanks for joining. If you're an Inner Circle member, join us in like literally now, and let's give it a minute because I have to quickly shut this down and move on over there. We'll see you guys in the Inner Circle live session here this morning. We're going to do a live gap trade in the S&P and probably the NASDAQ, and a whole bunch of other ideas. We actually have specifically 2 ideas for this morning. RTX is, of course, in the same sort of industry group. It's just extended. You know, that's why I'm showing you General Dynamics this morning, because I think both RTX from a trading perspective and LMT are to me a near-term overbought. But I think General Dynamics, if we're looking for something, is a lot more coiling up here from a purely technical sense. So hope that helps, folks. I'll see you again back here tomorrow morning. Set your clocks. Exactly 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific tomorrow morning. No technical issues tomorrow, I presume. And we'll see you there. If you're an Inner Circle member, join us over and go to webinar. You've got the link. We'll see you there in just 1 minute. Thanks for joining.